Welcome to the third. Welcome to the fourth episode. Yes, this is a very chaotic episode. Even though
It is okay. Yeah, we are haphazardly recording this.
yes,
Yes, we are reviewing. This is our second BL manhwa review, and we're doing it for the epic, legendary Kingsmaker by
Yes.
Kang Ji-young and Haga. And forewarning, we did not update ourselves completely on the second season. So this episode will mainly focus on the first season of the manhwa. The second is ongoing. And to avoid spoilers, we'll just focus on the first season.
There are also some trigger warnings that we must mention. There's heavy mentions of pedophilia and sexual assault. FYI to those who are very uncomfortable with those themes. And let's jump right into it. So, overall, I feel like this is very high fantasy, maybe even, would you say, historical fantasy?
Yeah, I guess historical fiction,
Yeah.
historical fantasy,
Yeah. Our main character is Wolfgang Golden Leonard Leonard, or do you say Golden Leonard?
I say Golden Leonard.
Okay.
A wolf bang. Dad, how he be?
Yes, and Wolfgang is this bastard child of the kingdom that the story is focused on. And this man has a lot of bastard children.
Yeah.
Yes, but
He's
the
an
only
asshole.
problem is that he only selects children that inherit the golden hair and golden eyes,
Yes.
right? And our guy Wolfgang has one of those, and so he is grabbed from the streets by the crown's guard and taken to the castle where he will be raised as a proper prince. Obviously, he has some huge qualms about it. He doesn't really fit well with the aristocratic atmosphere.
Yes. He's a slummy boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, slummy bastard boy. We love him very much.
Yes. And he obviously hates his father very, very much.
Yeah, and while he's there, he meets another boy whose name is Shin Soo-hyuk. And the interesting thing about Shin Soo-hyuk is that he's one of the king's quote unquote children. And this is where trigger warnings come into effect because Wolfgang's father, the king of the kingdom, is a pedophile. He keeps like a harem of young children whom he likes to have not very appropriate relations with. And Shin Soo-hyuk is one of them. I think he was given like it was like a ransom deal with his dad or something like
he
that.
was.
Yeah. Who also has a high position in this society. But yeah, Shin Soo-hyuk obviously knows that this king is he's like literally gutter bottom. Like he sucks. He's a horrible king and a horrible person, and he obviously wants to overthrow this guy. And he thinks this arrival of this new bastard child with a completely different worldview and way of thinking and is just a good person at heart, he can kind of quote unquote use him to overthrow the king. And it's the plot of the story is like really Shin and how he tries to manipulate the situation in order for Wolfgang to take the throne, and in the process like the feelings that develop between them.
Hence the title Kingsmaker. Shin is literally the Kingsmaker.
Yes. And it's based off an actual word, kingmaker, which literally means like people in history who are like the minister or like somebody in the cabinet or the court whose role was basically to put the king on the throne.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's some court intrigue stuff.
Yes, there's a lot of political intrigue, especially the first season. If all you're looking for is hardcore smut, I guess this isn't for you.
Yes, because the characters are children.
Yeah.
There's some tension, but that's because, like, you know, they're young kids, like, going through puberty and having crushes and all that, so.
I feel like if there wasn't any romance in play, this would have been a really good shonen manga or shonen series.
Yeah, you're right. Yes.
Yeah.
And we would have just needed to rely on the fan fiction
Exactly.
for the shipping stuff. You know what would have been funny? You know what would be funny? We say this is historical fantasy, but what if this is like futuristic fantasy?
That'd be really sad, but that we lost the ability of like automobiles and reverted back to horse wagons.
But we got that magic.
Okay.
Yes. And we have hot blondes on the throne.
Hot corrupt blondes.
Yes,
Okay.
that's true.
But speaking of magic, I think some of the rules for this world is very interesting, especially since the Golden Leonard Kings, they are like heavily tied with magic itself. And so this isn't really going to spoiler territories. This is more just like an explanation of the world itself. Um, However, these kings were given like a magic blessing, right? And that's really depicted through their golden hair and golden eyes. And this is sort of like their, I guess, a protective barrier, right?
Yeah.
Against like poisons or any harm that comes towards them. Because again, it's like a blessing, like they're protected. However, I think it's rumors that claim that if they do something to displease the gods or whatever, they will eventually lose that blessing.
That would make sense. And King Golden Leonard at the beginning of season 1. He should have lost the gods' blessings
A
a
while
while
ago.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. But yeah, that's why that king went around and had and fucked so many women and had so many kids, in order to sire children with the golden hair and
Yeah,
golden
golden hair
eyes.
and golden eyes. And those who don't exhibit both attributes are sort of just like ignored and discarded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people who don't have either golden eyes or golden hair, or if they're girls.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's sort of just sad and sexist.
Is sexist. Actually, yeah, you're right. This would have sucked if it were a future fantasy. If it was science fiction. Yes.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of like strong female side characters in this story. Yeah, the only one I can think about is probably Wolfgang's mother.
True.
Yeah, but for obvious reasons, she's not the main focal point. She doesn't show up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, that's true. It is a BL, so like most of the characters will be dudes, like regardless of the work that you're looking at. But considering it takes place in like a high fantasy setting, it would have been nice to have more involved female characters. But that's just the way of the genre.
Yeah.
Review's over. Okay. Okay, let's keep going. All right. So, what do we think of our boy Wolf Bang Golden Leonard?
I really like him. He's
Yeah.
not like, I don't think there's any point of the story in both season 1 and season 2 that I was like frustrated with him, you
Mm.
know? I was always rooting for him throughout the whole series. And I also don't feel like he's a Mary Sue type of character either.
Yeah, yeah.
He definitely has a lot of flaws, and which is, you know, resolved through his excellent character development, all thanks to Shin, of course.
Yes, yes.
Which again makes his character much more interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
What my favorite arc was the quote unquote tournament arc that they would see
I
in
forgot
shonen
about
anime.
what was that arc?
It was the one where he suggested to do a festival, almost a racing.
Was it
type
like
of
a
thing.
horse racing
Yeah, a horse
festival?
race.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then the aristocrats are like, oh, gambling on horse races, that's what poor people do. But like obviously the soldiers that were sort of like demoralized based on how the king was using them and whatever work or wars that they've been going through were like totally pumped for this, and it sort of united, I guess, the group or the people, which, you know, perpetuated how he is a good king and that Shin actually has a good eye on who could be a good leader.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yes, good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like as far as Wolfgang's Wolfgang is such a funny name to me. I apologize to
No,
people who have that name.
it's okay.
But yes, but as far as his character development goes, it's really cool. I like seeing like I throughout season 1 he was always very headstrong, and never lost sight of his his ideals and his commitments, and that extends to season 2 as well. I will say I did get a little frustrated at season 2, like the the gift giving. Um,
Oh,
remember
he's
that?
just being a doting boyfriend. It's
I
okay.
I know. Yes, it was sweet. Yeah. So in season 2, to not get too spoilery, so his love language clearly is gift giving, and he
Hmm.
takes full advantage of that as
As the new
as the
king.
new king, and he
Because they got
gives.
all the monies and the resources.
Yes, he is essentially become Shin's like sugar daddy. Well, because he literally is the king,
Hmm.
and showers him with tons of gifts, and Shin rejects all of them for reasons you'll see in season 2. But yeah, I wish he kind of in that mindset. I wish he kind of still had that. I guess that perspective of back when he was younger, and recognized the power of money, and the fact that like it's doesn't not everyone has it, and that he would be like more frugal with his money, and be giving like more so giving it to others, and being noble and giving it to the rest of the kingdom, as opposed to showering his boyfriend with gifts. So I was like, that made me kind of sad. But at the same time, like, he's living his own life, and his own boyfriend drama at the top of the hierarchy. So I can't object to that. It leads to some very nice scenes. Yeah.
That's true, especially for the uncensored version.
Yes.
So, season 2, because both Shin and Wolfgang are, of appropriate age, the authors have decided to create an uncensored version and a censored version of Kingsmaker. So, yeah, I've seen the uncensored version. It's really good. Yes.
Yeah, right. It is really good. I feel like, yeah, I was very glad to read it after I finished season 1.
Yeah, I know you were sort of hesitant reading season 2 for a while after season 1 ended.
Yes, yes. I was worried to see how Wolfgang would change. Again, with like how I was kind of sad that like he's now like really, how should I say, kind of enveloped by his wealth. And the fact that he's now always covered by a cloak, and he looks increasingly like the previous king. That gives me gets me worried, because like at the end of season 1, remember that, without getting too much into spoiler territory again, but the king bestows upon him a bad omen, and you can see that it kind of slowly rises up in the second season, and that is getting me a little bit concerned.
But it's for the drama.
I know, I know.
And
Yes,
and honestly, your concern is like justified because I'm pretty sure that's how Shin was feeling too, as he
yes,
was watching, Wolfgang as his advisor, which
yes.
sort of sucks because I'm like, yo, you put him on this throne, at least trust his ass.
I know,
you know?
yeah, yeah, and I think Shin was himself feeling that way toward himself in season 2 too. He will like things like, "Dang, I made him do this stuff." Right?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. Mm.
So he recognizes that, and there's disconnects between the characters still, which is good in a way, because relationships are always developing, and it's Shin is still a little bit in denial about his relationship with the king.
Yes, he is, and that makes me. That's who frustrates me. It's not Wolfgang. It's Shin.
It's Shin. Okay, I think this is a good transition in from Wolfgang to Shin. And
Yeah. So Shin in the beginning, you could sort of tell that he originally wanted to use Wolfgang to his advantage, right? He wanted no strings attached. This was his power play. He was trying to be like the little finger of Game of.
yeah,
Yeah, he's trying to be like
yes,
that. But I think he slowly soon realized that he was starting to garner these feelings towards Wolfgang. And I'm like,
yeah,
oh, it's so sweet,
he's
But
cute.
he's also like, oh my God, I shouldn't be feeling this way because he's going to be my king and all this stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, you know,
yes, and they were little too. They were
yeah.
just children.
Yeah. I think Shin is a very good juxtaposition to Wolfgang's personality, where Wolfgang is always very reckless in his actions. Shin is always very calculative in what he does. He's very, very mature for his age, considering all the shit that he goes through.
Yeah, yeah, all the shit that Wolfgang puts him through
Yeah,
too.
that too. But I think it's at season 2 when I started getting frustrated with him because I'm like, you got what you wanted, right?
Yeah.
Why do you still have this self doubt or this doubt towards like Wolfgang?
And I think he recognizes this too because he wants the kingdom to run in a certain way, and he tries to force that agenda on Wolfgang when in fact his entire charm, Wolfgang's entire charm, is the fact that he is so different from how the kingdom used to operate. And Shin put him on the throne because he could make that change. But now he's trying to pull him back and make him do things according to what the kingdom's traditions are rather than like break those traditions. And I think like that the calculating part is what's getting too deep into his head.
Yeah, he's clearly the overthinker in the
He is,
relationship,
yes.
while Wolfgang has no thoughts
He
at all.
head empty.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Meanwhile, Shin has too many thoughts.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Way too many.
They balance each other out very well though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. Yeah. I just wish that he sort of like accepted Wolfgang's love, you know.
Yeah. Yes.
Uh,
Just take it.
yeah,
Just
like
take it.
literally everyone in the entire court knows.
They're gossiping all the
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
Yes, I would have loved to be part of that court and just gossiped, like, with the tailors, and they're all trying to make his clothes. Like, what are they up to now? Like, it's like office gossip.
Oh my. Speaking of side characters, the most important side character to mention here is Lord Sis.
My favorite character.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. What are your thoughts on Lord Sis?
Let's see. He did add a little bit of like a comedic break during scenes, especially when things are getting dire. And especially in season 2 when things were getting really tense between Wolfgang and Shin's relationship. And then you have Lord Sis trying to be like
The mediator.
their mediator slash counselor, and
Yes.
like just listening to them complain and bitch about how overly romantic they are, while where like Lord Sis is single AF at the moment, and he's just like, wow, okay, guys.
I know he's just sitting there trying to drink his tea,
Yeah.
and like they're expressing way too much about the details of their relationship. He's like, okay,
Yeah.
chill. I'm just a friend. But yes, Lord Sis is a very interesting guy. If you don't know him, he is like the adopted son of another duke, but he's technically set to like inherit that. But the only thing stopping him, you'll see the way they narrate it in the text, is his interesting tastes.
Oh.
Um, so he is very flamboyant, very feminine in the way he dresses, in the way he behaves. He behaves femininely, but he's a very dominant type character because of the you see the servants.
Yeah, I know.
He has his servants dress up in these kink outfits all the time, and they
Is
like literally
with the windows to the
exactly,
yes.
yeah. He like makes them wear like dresses that pull up their titties. And yeah, and they like serve him at his beck and call. Yeah, he likes that shit.
Yes.
Um,
And I love it whenever like Shin or Wolfgang comes in to have like a conversation, and you always see them in the background, and you can tell that Wolfgang and Shin are trying their best to focus.
yeah, and it's like they're just so distracted by
Yes.
how peculiar this is.
And the thing I like about Lord Sis is that he isn't just like some random side character thrown in. He actually has a backstory, like a tragic one too at that. And he has a vendetta against the king as well. It's not like he's there for the sake of being the support for these characters. No, he has a reason why he wants to overthrow the original king.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he becomes a really good friend to them too. So it's really
Mhm.
nice to kind of see that develop. And so the next character that we're about to go into is Randolph. He is part of season 2. So we get a little more into season 2 in this section of the podcast, I guess. But Randolph is one of the other bastard children of the original Golden Leonard asshole. And
He looks exactly like Wolfgang, but with
yes,
dark hair.
literally, he looks exactly like him, a literal clone. just as headstrong and stubborn. He just has black hair, and that's why he was cast away. And he plays a role in season 2, a very interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. He's also Lord Sis's, I guess, love interest.
Yes.
Yeah. And that man deserves happiness, so it's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yo, Randolph low key or high key has the saddest backstory out of all of
Yeah.
them. Comparable with Shin, though. Shin's backstory
Mm.
sucks.
Yeah, now that I think about it, like if you look at Wolfgang's backstory, it's sad, but it's not as shitty as some of the other characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which says a lot about
Yeah.
what's going on in this story.
Yes, this kingdom has some problems.
Yes, huge problems.
Yes.
And I think it's interesting that even the neighboring kingdoms like have issues with the Golden Leonard Kingdom because they're like, bro.
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
But they have no choice because the Golden Leonards are blessed by magic.
Yeah, and I also think it's because they're super rich.
They are basically Western Europe
Mm.
and America,
Yeah.
and the rest of the world is dependent
Yeah.
or forced to be. Yeah.
That's one thing I've noticed with like high fantasy fiction webtoons or manga or manhwas is that they'll have a heavily Western cultured like kingdom, and then the neighboring kingdoms are like, oh, this one's like obviously influenced by like Korea or Asia, you know, and this one's obviously influenced by South Asia
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it lends to that tradition basically because almost all of the world's most popular high fantasy all came from Western authors from Western settings like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, and like obviously Game of Thrones is like diverse. It incorporates elements of like um non-Western countries, but then there's Westeros,
Yes,
which is
literally the West. And like the fact that they group certain races for different regions, sort of like how the horrible live action Avatar movie,
oh
where it's
my
like
god,
all the
yeah.
Eskimos were like the waterbenders, and all the Indians were the firebenders, and Asians, like Chinese people, were like the earthbenders. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. It's like I mean, can't it all be dispersed among different types of people? Like yeah, I would love to imagine how the tables will turn if you see like the main kingdom is like I don't know, like Brazil. And though North America is dependent, like imagine that would be awesome. Like for once, please have like non-white people be the
Be the non-dominant, like, you know,
yeah,
player of this entire like hierarchy.
yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yes,
Or you could sort of be like what they're doing now with Regency era dramas where they're mixing,
like Bridgerton.
yeah,
Yeah.
where they're including like a diverse cast for this era that was typically mostly like white
Mm-hmm.
dominant, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there it's interesting because like there's a lot of debate when it comes to that too. Like I think the diversity is really awesome. It gives it like a I won't even say funky, but it just gives it like a fun vibe. Like all
Yeah,
these
it
different
does.
people in like
Yeah.
a supposedly, homogenous area. But at the same time, you'll get people who are obviously like, well, that's not historically accurate to that time period. And I've noticed that also with arguments regarding like the casting for like The Witcher or for the
Oh, that's
Percy Jackson
right.
series. Like that the it's a tussle always between the creators who want to stay true to how the story was originally created and then also appealing to what people want to see in media. Like people want to see diversity, but they also want to make it true to the original story. So they can't really win either way because what if the original story was only like people of Western origin? You make it diverse. The people who want diversity will be happy, but the people who also want it to be true to the story will be like, this isn't accurate.
Right.
And the same thing will happen the other way around. So it's like, where do you win?
I think for me the only problem would be is if their choice of making the cast diverse is sort of forced upon the writing and the storyline. a good example of diversifying your cast from the original source material would be the show Hannibal. So I've read the original novels, and most of the main characters were all white males, right? But if you watch the show, you can tell that there are some like very stark differences. So, for example, the annoying ass like tabloid reporter Freddie Lowndes was a dude, but they changed it to a female. They also changed Will Graham's therapist Alan Bloom to a female as well, Alana Bloom. And I'm pretty sure I don't think Jack Crawford was a black man.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, cool.
yeah,
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense because I would have never known when watching.
yeah. And the fact that like you've never read the source material, but when you watched the show, you thought like, oh, these like naturally fit their roles. This naturally fits the story. Shows like a good way of like diversifying your cast by not making it seem like super forced. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
But
Well, that's it.
so, yeah, we'll go back. We'll step away from our tangent. What did you think about the art of Kingsmaker?
Fantabulous.
Mm.
Incredible art. Really, really, really pretty. Like they went all out. Like especially in season 1. Like of course season 2 is like really, really good too. But like remember that scene in season 1 where they it was like a ball like a
Yes,
ball.
when they're dancing outside, and I was like, "Oh, that's so."
It was so pretty.
You could save that as a like a background. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, yes. The background imagery was very pretty. Yeah. Um yeah, so what happened was that they went out. There was like a obligatory ballroom scene because he's a
Mm-hmm.
king
Yep.
or a prince. And like Shin was like loitering in the side, and Shin was feeling insecure. And our boy Wolf Bang took him out into this beautiful canopy, or what was it, gazebo? I mean,
Yeah, gazebo. Yeah.
it was under the night sky, and it was just
Yeah, and the water was reflecting them too, and the night sky, and I was like, "Oh, it's so pretty." Like,
yeah,
wow,
yes,
you know.
yeah. They really went all out with the art that season.
Yes. Oh, do you want to explain how the art was made? I found it very interesting.
Oh, were you able to read the creator's notes afterward?
Oh no, I wasn't, but like I know you did. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Well, one thing that we found really interesting was kind of the parallel between the way the creators created the webtoon and the way we went about creating this podcast. So this is a bit of background stories to how we created our podcast. Or you can talk about how we created our podcast, and I can talk about how um
How the
the
authors
yeah,
created.
how the authors created the webtoon. Yes.
It came off as a joke from Kiki's end of the message, and
Yes.
I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And so on our like 10 p.m. calls, we set up this whole like Excel plan and everything. And we're like, "Oh shit, we gotta make this legit because we put so much time and
We
effort
put
in
so
this."
much work into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not. I've screenshotted our text message from the very first one where we
Yes.
put that out. But yeah, it was it was funny because like we came out and we saw a meme. It was a Twitter meme. A t-
Oh, was it at the end of 5 years? You're either gonna kill yourself or you start a podcast? I'm like, well, I don't really want to kill myself right now, but
exactly.
I'll start a podcast.
We'll start a podcast. We haven't gone that insane yet.
Yes.
Um,
Although we almost have.
we almost have.
This
I
is
mean,
saving us.
we merged the two.
Yes.
Yes, because we came up with this batshit plan to create a podcast out of freaking nowhere. Um, but yeah, essentially what happened was that we were just joking around. We thought, oh, wouldn't it be funny to like start a BL manhwa commentary podcast?
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, oh, you know what? That would be pretty funny. And then we spent way too long creating a plan for it, and we were like, we must do it. But that was almost the same way that the that Kingsmaker came to be. In a very similar way, like the creators are good friends, and out of nowhere, like one of them was like, "We gotta get started right freaking now," and she got her like co-creator to like book a flight there, like to where she was, and like she sat her down, was like, let's go. And the other girl was like, okay. And then they went and created this beautiful masterpiece that we're both reading and sharing with you today. Yeah, that's not to say that what we're creating is any any way of a masterpiece, but it's something we enjoy doing together and sharing with all of you guys. For our like 2 listeners out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Should we give our listeners like names?
Of webtoons?
No, like, you know how some people give their audience members names, like nicknames?
Oh, do you have any ideas?
I was thinking like worms, because worms are in like rotten apples. I don't know if they'd appreciate being called the worms.
That's okay. That's okay. If you're listening to this podcast, you're a degenerate. So yeah. Apples or worms. They could also be apples. But no, we're the apples.
Yeah, we are the apples. They are just the worms
They're
that
just
feed off our content. Yes.
Yes. We will refer to them. We'll refer to you guys as our cute little worms.
Yeah. Our earth noodles. Yes.
Yes. Our you know how they create, like, they're starting to create pasta and noodles out of like different shit nowadays.
Yes. I know.
Yes, so we can what would they be made out of?
I don't know. We'll come back to it later in the next episode.
Yes. For now, you guys are our earth noodles.
Yep.
Earthworms.
Our little earth noodles.
Yes.
So, I think it's pretty easy to rate the plot of Kingsmaker.
How would you rate it?
I'd rate it a 10 out of 10.
Yes. 10 out of 10. Yes. Like, yeah, they went above and beyond creating a fantastic story with an actual plot. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no complaints with the story at all. And I guess if anyone who's read it sees plot holes, feel free to like point them out, because I feel blindsided by everything. By the good characters and the good art. I'm like, wow, this story's really good.
Yes, yeah. We're blinded by the goldenness of Golden Leonard, and the sex.
Okay.
It's really hot, especially in season 2. Yeah. So if you guys are actually paying attention to the plot, yes, no, because we definitely missed stuff.
I mean, you're gonna have to pay attention to the plot for season 1, so
yeah, that's true. Yeah, season 1 plot's important. Not that season 2 the plot is any less important, but like you'll understand it if you've read season 1 properly.
Yeah. And that goes without saying that I'd sort of rate the spiciness level of Kingsmaker to probably be, let's say 5 out of 10, because it is in the middle, right? You don't really get much of anything in season 1. In season 2, even if you do read the uncensored version, it's like very few chapters sort of have those scenes.
You're right.
And they're very short-lived too, which is fine. But
yeah,
compared to like other ones out there, yeah, it's not as like intense.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Are there any other reasons you'd give it like less of a rating aside from the frequency?
Aside from frequency, maybe it's also because you don't really see too much when it's being drawn in both the censored and uncensored. You know, no lightsabers for this one, which is fine. We could do without the lightsabers. But it also means like there's no full body shots. It's mostly like close-ups of like the upper body, facial expressions. So it's sort of up to your imagination to imagine like what's happening. And stuff like that.
Yeah, basically they show everywhere but like
the
butt area.
Yes.
And the crotch area. Yes. Yeah. Yes, I agree. It does. In season 2 there was, did you reach the slight scene where there was like the BDSM imagery?
Yeah, I did.
That was really hot. But again, like you were right though, it left a lot to the imagination. They didn't really like draw anything out. It would have been so satisfying to see it drawn out. Yes.
Yeah, I want to know if this is the first time they've ever made like an explicit story before, and if that's why they don't choose to do that, or if they're so used to being censored in season 1 or like not showing anything in season 1 that like
Yeah.
season 2 being an explicit story is sort of new for them. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Have they created previous works before?
That I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I
But
would definitely read it though if they did,
yeah.
because they're both really good at what they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're talented artists, and yeah, I can get your reasoning too. It's like they spent so long like not drawing any of that, and like they got across the tension really well. So I can see how they'd like be more comfortable with that in the next season, maybe. Um, what do you think will happen in future chapters?
If they do bother making a season 3, I think at that point I could sort of see the story sort of tanking in a way, because most of the tension and the came from season 1, I felt, because even season 2 I didn't really feel as intense of a feeling as I did when reading season 1, right?
Yeah,
Because
you're
the
true.
stakes weren't as high as they were in season 1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Same. Yes, I
Yeah.
was following along pretty intensely with season one,
Mm-hmm.
because there is like this one end goal, and everything hinged on that one end goal being reached. But with season two, there's like a lot of different things happening, um, and there's not like one, like course of revenge or anything like that. There's a lot of different points going on, and it's a lot more of like the everyday drama, as opposed to like everything coalescing toward one end goal.
Right. If anything, instead of like making season 3 a full on or a full blown story, I wouldn't mind seeing like little extras about like what's happening on their daily lives, or little romantic scenes between Wolfgang and Shin. Like that'd be cute, because
That
you
would
don't
be
really
very
get
cute.
enough of that, because you always see them like struggling in pain. And you're like, damn, when are these two gonna break?
Yeah, you're right. No, honestly.
Mhm.
Yes, I would love to see. I love seeing like creators' notes at the end when they lots of spin-offs or AUs
Mhm.
or extras, or like stories with the side pairing. Um, those are really cute. Yeah,
Mm.
I'd love that.
And speaking of that, I feel like I've noticed that if I'm satisfied with the way like a story is going, I don't feel the need to search up their fan fiction.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point too. Yeah. I don't think for like the really good manhwa too, it's like you feel satisfied at the end. Like you don't need to go up on AO3 and look up King's Maker.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But you know where I do have to look up fan fiction for? All those BL Danmei Chinese web novels, because they take like 90 to 100 chapters to get to the good part, and you're like, hot damn.
You're right. Yeah, that's the one thing I would love to read them, but like I can't stay for that long
You
knowing
have to. It is worth
knowing
the wait. It is worth the wait, dude.
but there's no smut.
I know. I know it's censorship reasons. And that is what
Yeah.
our next episode will be talking about. We will be going deep into this new form of media known as danmei, which is like the Chinese version of BL but for web novels,
Yes.
and how they've started gaining popularity recently from like I think the start of COVID in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you started getting really into it.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
And if it's about censorship, we might have a guest.
We might have a guest.
Might
We
have a
shall see.
yes. We might have a very special guest who's knowledgeable on this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. If not for the next episode, this person will inevitably be on here, whether
They
they
like
like
it
it
or
or
not.
not.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Ah,
Well, yeah. Well, that concludes our very all over the place haphazard review of
yes.
Kingsmaker. And
Thanks for listening, our little earth noodles. Yes.
yes, yes, we enjoyed doing this episode.
Yes, it was really nice. We hope to have you listen in on the next episode.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.